Bless up, guys. You don't know, it's Yannick Reid here, and welcome back to a One Par podcast. I'm glad to have you guys here. If you are watching right now, you'll obviously see it's not me alone. If you're listening, I'd like to let you know that it's not just me one here. So what a lot of people don't know, or what some viewers may not know, or listeners, is that a One Par podcast is a spiritual successor of a previous podcast that I used to host with 3 other people called Late Night Par Podcast. And one of my co-hosts for that legendary podcast was our guest for today.
Legendary.
So, a legendary podcast. So our guest today here is Kango Sambo, more known as Fatalic. My brethren, my genius brethren, also a DJ during his day hours. He's a contributing member of society who works. I mean, we're friends for quite some time, as well as I manage him. So he's a very intelligent fellow. So I never feel like I could have started like having a series of guests on this podcast without having the great Fatalic, my former co-host. His MMG. Fatalic, talk to the people. Tell the people them how you know.
All gone. Now let me forget back used to the podcasting. Bro.
Yeah. He's been away from the camera for some time.
But excited to get back into it.
Exactly.
And that's what we're talking about. It's like the whole setup just different. So it's like before it's like we just talk, but now we are talk to the camera. So it's like different. You know what I mean?
It's totally different. So like we started Late Night Par before podcasting in Jamaica was like a thing. So we started with just audio only. And fun fact, if you look up Late Night Par on any of the podcasts, you will find it. It's still there. About 5 seasons worth of gold.
The bag is deep. The catalog is deep.
Yeah, so we moved from that on to camera. And then COVID happened. And Late Night Par just did not survive COVID. You know what I mean? So it's years later now. I decided to gradually jump back into this podcast world with a One Par podcast. That's why it's called a One Par, because it's me one. But you don't know, as I say, if I was going to have a guest, I'm going to have Fatalic. So normally on the Late Night Par, we would just be talking about current affairs every single 2 weeks. But a One Par podcast is not necessarily about current affairs. It will involve current affairs, as you guys know, but it is really more about like the culture and nuance. So with that being said, Fatalic, or why we call him Fatalic, is because he's a DJ, as I've been saying. And in previous episodes, we've spoken so much about music and culture, and who should know more about music and culture than an actual disc jockey. You see me? So Fatalic, I feel like I want to start off the conversation because it's funny. As much as we're friends and we conversate a lot, we don't actually have focused conversations about things. So this is like, some of these things, it may be the first time I'm asking him these things. So Fatalic, I want to ask you, as a DJ who DJs in Jamaica on a regular basis, most of our audience, they would be patrons at an event. What would you say is one thing that like patrons don't understand about having to DJ an event? And don't just think about dancehall events, just think about like, you don't know, from weddings to big, small events. What do you think is like the biggest, I don't even want to say misconception, but just the thing that people don't know about?
It really depends. I think that's the big thing. The big thing is that there's so many moving parts, so many different things happening. You know what I mean? Like them say, oh, just play the song, them and whatever. But for a wedding, for example, there's so many things that you have to be dealing with at the same time, almost like you're acting as customer service, because you don't want to not make the bride or the groom happy, or someone might come with a request, or they might get a running order and things change. So you have to really be able to adapt, you know what I mean? I also feel like people don't really understand, every DJ pretty different, but for me, people don't understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know what I mean? A big complaint people have is like, yo, why has a DJ done and the vibes build up, a next DJ come and cut the music and start over? When to me, time and place for everything, you know what I mean? But sometimes in order to, you have to cut the energy for maintain energy, if you get me. You
That's a good point, because even one thing that I had on my mind to talk to you about is, and something we always talk about, is almost like the anatomy of events. So now we clearly going to pare it down to like just, you know, parties, you know what I mean? Because we can't talk about everything.
Yeah.
But like even the anatomy of the event, because I'm glad you said that, because that's a complaint I have a lot of times where like, you know, the energy is high and then the next DJ come on and it feel like him not trying to pick up from where the previous DJ left off.
Yeah, I mean, so I was thinking about this episode, Kai, when you linked me and say, I haven't done this for a while. And I'm a person that likes my mind map things. So I was thinking about, you know, that meme about that one friend that just take everything too serious and like, you're like, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
Like, that's me, bro. Because I think like a big part of even cutting that energy, bro, you have to realize that as a DJ, when you're observing a party, you're acting as an observer, right? And then the other DJ are playing, and them have that energy that they have built up to. But if you as a new DJ come in and then try to match that energy, depending on the type of person you are, like it can actually end up throwing off your set. Because like as a person, your energy hasn't really built up to that level. You know what I mean? That's something that I don't want to say I've suffered from, but I've had to learn about myself, you know what I mean? So if it's that I'm matching the energy, I have to be very intentional about it and plan for it.
Yeah.
And I think something that people don't really pre is that a lot of these things are subconscious as well. You know what I mean? So I feel like if you match the energy, you'll never actually match the energy. If you get me.
So when they start it over, is almost like an attempt to kind of cool it down, to bring it back up in their own way.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like, me I play like the most high tempo thing and then me I go play like reggae or something. It can literally just be almost like a recentering or a realignment to like the energy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
At the end of the day, like everybody bring their own energy. And I think sometimes it really depends, I will say.
Yeah.
But very often.
It depends on where in the party you're playing.
Where in the party, who was playing before, like how much you can actually match that energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because some man really just cannot match the energy and the tempo that another DJ. not like as a this, you know what I mean? But every DJ plays differently. And that's kind of like a pet peeve I have where people are like, every DJ play the same. And I get it from a patron perspective where it can feel like the same songs in the same order all the time. But as someone that actually like gets the nuances, I've heard a person, I need to stop saying that, man. Yeah, I've heard people, and why would I do it for niggas? Anyway, I've heard people play the exact same songs in the exact same order, and the energy is totally different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to dive into that some more because I'm thinking on like both sides, especially just the wider conversation. So I feel like right now, audiences, and this is Jamaica, I don't know about global audiences, but I feel like audiences in Jamaica and DJs and MCs are like at odds. That's how I feel right now. Not that I am necessarily at odds with DJ, but I feel like people, especially going to events, I don't feel like DJs and people are aligned. And when I say that, it's like, obviously all DJs are not the same. And I'm biased because I like how Fatalic play. Obviously I'm managing. I just find that like people come and they have this expectation of the event. And I feel like DJs not really delivering. Or even from my observation, I feel like a lot of DJs nowadays are playing for themselves. I'm caught in the middle because you're a DJ and I'm a manager, so I try to understand your perspective as a DJ. But I've spent way more time. I've never been a DJ, so I spent way more time being a patron.
Yeah.
And I do kind of feel like DJ, like you're saying, you're an observer, and not feeling like DJs are actually really trying to actually observe or get a feel of what the party is. It's almost like them come and they're like, this is my presentation, take it or leave it.
Questions are complicated, A lot of these questions are going to be very complicated and very nuanced. But you said two things.
Yeah.
I want you to put this in your pocket. What you say about DJs playing for themselves, put that in your pocket. But the second thing you said, what was the second thing you said?
They come and
they're observing and they say, this is my thing. So
yeah,
that's actually a criticism that I've had about how some DJs play.
Yeah.
It's like them juggle like they've never actually been to a party as a patron. I'm serious, bro, because it's like them get so caught up in probably like technical nuances or
The
like
acrobatics.
trying to sound like, I don't want to say sound cool because that's weird, but a classic example for me is like, and is on both the side of a DJ and a MC. But when you talk about like a girl tune segment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't, like you need to make the song them sit a little bit and breathe.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you have someone who just like, yo, 4 bars, I mean I come out of that. But you need to allow, as a like if you've ever danced with somebody, bro, you know, say kind of want to settle in the wine before you settle in the wine. You see me?
Of course.
Yeah. So I feel like that is tied to, like, as you said, like being observers that act and kind of play as if they've never actually been part of the thing that they're now trying to be a contributor towards.
I think that's a really good point, you know, like just being, like actually being a patron as a DJ, like going and listening and feeling out the vibe, you know, because, yo, once DJs reach a certain point, you know, and I have liberty to talk because I'm not a DJ. Fatalic will be a little bit more politically correct.
The next thing I was thinking about, I know you're going to ask about parties specifically. I don't want to promote or say, yo, anyway.
Him I gonna have, you know what I mean? But I know, it's like, I notice that once DJs reach like them have a certain tier, you know, is side stage them apart or backstage them apart, you know what I mean? Like they're not in the thick of it. And I would say that about promoters too, you know, not all promoters obviously, but a lot of promoters, they're not actually in them own dance to actually say, all right, how does this event feel to the people who are around me? Yes, you have the people them who are coming and buy buckle in them cabana. That is one vibe. And then you have the vibe of the average patron who buy them general ticket and is just in the middle of the dance. And I imagine that what's tough too is the bigger the party too, is like it's harder to please different pockets. You know what I mean? You have the cabana crew, you have the people them at the front, you have the thugs them in your back, all of them something there. So it's like a whole myriad of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I think some of the better parties I've been to thrive and are successful because them have like the energy there where the promoters and the DJs have like almost like a good energy between each other, you know what I mean?
I would agree.
May I go make it a point of note when I'm being positive to speak directly to people and things. So, for example, to me, Soca Camp, Matt Camp's event, perfect examples. Licky Tiki as well, perfect example. You know what I mean? Like the DJs are people that, they're DJs, yes, but them party. You know? If you know West, if you know Rico, like, if them at a party and them not working, them a party.
Them are engaged.
You know what I mean? And sometimes when West they are party and him a work, him a party.
Gotcha. So these are examples.
Yeah.
I think those are good points. It's something we talk about often, actually. Like I would say, if I was to just represent myself, I would say the biggest or one of the bigger problems when I go out is like I feel like no matter like what the list of DJs is, it's like the party has this issue where it is stuck in limbo when it doesn't turn the corner. We're always talk about turning the corner. And this is not even like to point fingers on us, on like any individual DJ, because I see it kind of happen to kind of anybody where the party is like at the threshold of like, I say, yo, but then it just reached this point where it's like, all right, we're not get there.
So what do you mean by turn the corner? I mean, I guess you're trying to,
I feel like
a description.
I feel like turn the corner mean like where the party really gets into like a proper gear. Like you have a warm-up gear, yeah, obviously you reach a party, you have your early warm. And after me have a party, you reach the party, you try to find a space, don't rush me, man, I try to do a bag of things, you see me? You find home base, you make a one circle around the party couple times. You see if you see any other dog. You see if you see any candidates around the place, you mark with them there. All right, cool. You go back a base. Then you plot your drinks plan. You see me? You get your drinks and thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, drink. Yeah. You take a couple drinks, obviously throughout all of that part. You know what I mean? Play. Yeah, song I play. So I imagine this is an early warm. So ideally this is an early warm where like not really no hot tune I play.
Everything kind of relaxed. Vibes, you know
see me? Yeah, drink some drinks and whatever. I imagine somewhere between, generally, I believe somewhere between 11:50. I wouldn't even say 11:45. 11:50 and 1 o'clock. We're supposed to be trying to turn up the vibe, you see me? Whether it's the hot song them or even some girl song them, you know what I mean?
So, what would I say? Because you mentioned time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a big issue, and it goes back to what I said about the DJs, it also applies to patrons. I tell people all the time, like, the best parties I've ever been to, or some of them, is like a boat party, which is everybody reach the same time, we are cut the same time, I go there on the boat the same amount of time.
You have to commit.
Yeah. Even, or like a really expensive party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a party where people actually say, yo, I go this, or I go early, or we go up on time and we catch a vibe. Because what you mentioned is really what happens, which is people come and it's like they have to adjust and reach to the level of the party. You know what I mean? So you use a man or we use a crew where would I reach a dance early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then you have, let's say, typical party. If we are going to call it, it run from like 10 to 3 at this point. You know what I mean?
Some people are
you have some people who are forward like, no bro, like 1 o'clock, 1:30, all 2 o'clock.
Relate to that.
No, but when that is happening, bro, it's like you are trying all the vibes and a different energy fall in the space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we even take out all this woo-woo thing about energy, a man a forward and him a make up a bag of noise and a move around and a try set up table and rave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that to me is like a thing where as a DJ, like, and that's why early warm exists. So song I play, everybody I get comfortably, you know what I mean? You find a spot, you find a friend, then people are rolling. And you kind of just go and build up the energy. But then as people probably rolling later and later, and then you have to catch them energy, or they have to catch your energy, and you throw off the entire energy of everybody else.
Yeah.
I feel like that probably contributes to like that challenge of like turning the corner, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I also think sometimes it boils down to DJs. You have to be very intentional about the DJs that you put on your lineup and when they play.
Real.
Because you have some man where, you know what I mean? As a DJ, you have to know your role in a party. You have to know your role as a DJ. You have to know your strengths, your weaknesses. I think some promoters
selfish. Me gonna say someone was selfish.
I wouldn't call it that. You have some people
selfish. Want to play rapid burst, burn off all of the tune them one time, and just drop it and left it to the next day. Selfish.
That's not what I was getting at. But if you want to say that,
all right.
I just feel like you have some DJs are better than others at like keeping the party on a level, but also not making it boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, play some different song or you just play the right song at the right time. And I think some of the best DJs are the DJs that play the right song at the right time. It's not them can scratch bad or them have the craziest remixes or whatever. It's just like knowing what is going to be effective and what is right for the correct time. You know what I mean? And if you have the right set of DJs, that really contributes to the party building in the right way.
True.
You know what I mean?
I love to say when like there's a group of DJs, like basically the lineup of DJs, you can see like they're actually working together for the betterment of the whole party. Not like the betterment of anybody's one individual set. You know what I mean? I felt that way at the Top Bar party.
Boombox?
Yeah. I thought all the DJs there were kind of working together for the overall betterment of the party, and everybody had like a unique
I
set.
mean, someone would I say, and I've said it to other DJs as well. Well, one thing that I've said is DJs keep the best parties, you know what I mean? Like if you really pre. And I feel like if you're a promoter that's keeping a party and you take it thing serious,
yeah,
you should probably, I don't want to say have a DJ that's like the manager for the DJs, but like it will always be to your benefit to have a DJ that you trust that can advise on what should happen, you know what I mean? Or maybe them do tell you who for book.
Yeah.
But if you trust them enough, I know it's not a man where, you know, the politics and Rame can be like, yo, this are the running order, this are how I feel like we could have worked together, or this. You know what I mean?
I would think so.
As I said, a lot of the best parties I've been to is DJs keep it, you know what I mean? Because even, as I said, Boombox, Tony involved, him know how certain DJs play, him know the kind of energy with the DJ them bring, him know what he wants him event represent, and him know that a big part of that is like the audio part, for lack of a better word, you know what I mean?
and how it's supposed to feel. So my appeal, like this is what I go is that promoters. No, I not real. I think promoters should try and book DJs that complement each other. And not just complement each other in play style, but also complement each other like, yo, do these guys have a rapport to each other? Because me see man pan some lineup when I know say, yo, them two man, they hate each other. You see me? And I'm like, who is that benefiting? You get me? Who is that benefiting when the two man them hate each other? Because one man I go try spite the next man set or whatever. But like when the DJs actually have a rapport with one another, I find you don't necessarily have to comment, but I look and I see that like the soca DJs, they have a way greater rapport with each other than like the dancehall DJs, you see me? Or even those who cross over. Like when I go with you to work and thing, all the DJs, like them link up, is like a positive vibe. The energy between you guys is much more positive. And I feel like, as I say, I can talk. I will watch you play and I will see Rico paying attention to how you play and reacting to how you play. Matt Camps will be playing and I will see you a bossa blank or a Spectre go round this and bust some big blanks, you see me? And I think that create like a whole ecosystem that radiates outward from the party. Whereas dancehall, I won't call any names. Or I will know my DJ's book and sometimes we are playing maybe an early warm. Fatalic I play for an extra hour and next DJ can't reach, next DJ just reach and say, oh, you're good. And then they come and they have no idea what's going on in the party. Them half drunk. They're not paying attention to anything and then just come and play the same set when we hear them play at the last two events. And like, at them thing there, those things upset me. Not even just as a manager, but what pissed me off is these promoters who let DJs come and ruin them event and keep booking them to do the same thing and complain. I mean, no, say Fatalic can't say anything.
I don't have anything to say. I don't know who you're talking about.
But you've never seen that happen. You don't have to call a name, but have you ever been to an event where you got version 1 of this event?
I mean, I've heard stories. I've never personally.
You're in lie. But
I mean, that kind of got to a pet peeve I have as well, which is like,
tell me.
Even like the running order and the time, sometimes the promoter them can make you know a little earlier. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know we have some DJs that don't really care when them are play, them are going to forward and play. But for me, the best thing I can know is when I go to play. You know what I mean? Because I think about the time in terms of what the vibe I going to be at that moment in time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who are going to play before me? Someone can kind of think about, all right, them likely to do this. Mm-hmm. Or who are going to play after? Someone can think, all right, cool. I need to be prepared to, like, for example,
I actually care.
Oh, yeah.
Continue.
Like, wait. Mm-hmm. I knew I was closing, but I was playing after Travis World. Mm-hmm. So, Trinity DJs play different, you know what I mean? There's a Trinity DJ in Jamaica, so you know, say, he might go beat off some dancehall, you know what I mean? And then I was also playing off the voice. So that man said, all right, cool. The energy I got upon a crazy level, you know what I mean? And I can't cut the energy, but also... maybe I don't want to start right this again, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sometimes if I want to plan my set, that's the best thing you can give me, like that information. But I'm the type of person that like, I love info. You know, bro. Like one thing I'm gonna do is ask about a question. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, I like to observe, but you're someone that likes to prepare, but I also like to observe. Like Fatalic is a man that if him see something I go on in a certain way in a party, he might cut like 20 minutes before him set, go on him laptop, probably go build a mix pan spot or something that I go fit that unique event and try to work it into the event.
I wonder if this I go sound like an ad.
What's a Fatalic?
Yeah. It's like,
no, it's my podcast. Well, all right, I got a list of DJs that I like them. I will go there. I like Bloodline Franco. Obviously, Fatalic is my favorite DJ. That's why I'm managing. I mean, Tonio really loves music, so I like how Tonio play. I think over the years, I've found myself to be a fan of Cryptic. Like Cryptic will go on the boards and do something pretty interesting. I like Nico Lee. I like Nico Lee. I like Lengdy. I think all the DJs that I like are fairly similar. They have a similar kind of musicality. Is there anybody I'm forgetting? Like if I was keeping a party and I had the money, like those are the DJs that I would like to book.
Oh boy, no,
Rush on as a MC.
bad DJ too, man. When I put in the work, bro.
I mean, I'm allowed to have favorite DJs, you know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. And it's not that I don't like other DJs, but they might not be my favorite DJs based on maybe their play style, things that they like to do. I can say things that I personally don't like. I'm not a big fan of EDM. You'll notice I probably don't list DJs that play heavy EDM. I'm not really into like Afro House right now. My issue with Afro House, and you need to respond, is like you say, you say, all right, the thing with Afro House and also EDM is that maybe it's because I have ADHD, but you see when you're going like an event and it's just that plain and there's no words, I feel like my brain being stretched thin. I feel like my brain being like it going through a shredder because I don't have anything to anchor onto. It just sounds and it feel maddening after a point.
That's so funny.
So I can't deal with that.
I've spoken to my brother about it. My brother lives in Europe and he's really into EDM. So I spoke to him about it and he was like, yo, the repetition is like part of it. You know what I mean? Probably
Yes.
not with Afro House. Like there are other genres of EDM and electronic music where the repetition is like part of it, you know what I mean?
I understand.
But also
that.
you kind of almost, the space is also part of it. So the lighting and all that shit is a bit like, that creates like no, I'm serious.
No, I agree.
It creates
Like,
like,
I said, we don't have that here.
yeah, but it creates like that spectacle and also almost like that hypnotic vibe to it, you know what I mean?
No spectacle over Ronnie Williams.
My issue with Afro House really is that it's gentrified black music, bro. And they went and called it Afro House when like real Afro House exists. That's not what it is. It's like Tropical House Part 2. You know what I mean?
We got a hot take out of it.
No, that's not a hot take. Like,
That's established.
words mean things, bro, isn't it?
Fair enough.
And
Yeah.
I remember when it just became a thing, like that's something that really irked me. You know what I mean? Cause me and say, yo, this is so different from, first of all, it's beer white people make it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's so different from actual music that is being produced from African DJs and producers, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But no, the face of it is, I mean, you know, sometimes you have the man them will put in them work and spend time and whatever, but at the same time, sometimes it's not their fault. But this you have no, as a white man, come to represent Afro House.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I not like that.
Yeah, that has bad optics to me. Oh yes, I just remember big up Yared and Jason. They're my de facto reggae DJs. So
Just Jason, Dubwise.
yeah, oops, sorry. Yeah. There's a hot take that I wanted to bring. It's like I feel like I think Jamaican people like music at parties, but I don't feel like Jamaican people like listening to music. And I said the word listening very carefully. We're not fans of music.
Yes. I mean, I don't want to just say yes off the bat, but when you even think about our genres, you know what I mean? Dancehall is literally named off of the space. You know what I mean? Reggae has always been communal music. You know what I mean? Even if, again, not to be that friend that's so woke, but like, we come from slavery, bro. We sang music as a form of community. You know what I mean? Not that it wasn't something that was fun or whatever, but like it was really something that you did amongst people. You know what I mean? So I think even when you pre that, like really our music is communal music. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's anything wrong with music primarily being something that you enjoy amongst people. Because even for me, like I've said this before, you know what I mean? Which is like I'll hate a song, and the first time I hear it out, I'm like, yo, I get
fact.
it, I understand it. No, I'm serious, bro. And that happens a lot with dancehall, where you can't listen to your yard and get it, bro. Like you have to their own, and you have to their own the energy that is in the space. You know what I mean? And I actually think I thought you were gonna ask a question about like dancehall parties versus soca parties, because I think the two are connected. And I think a reason why I don't want to say dancehall has been bad, but why there's been a shift in dancehall is the music has become very antisocial, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think because of COVID, where it don't really make sense make music for people because you're inside anyway. And then also because of how the music industry has changed, which is before you had to go and dance, toast on a rhythm, get forward, build up your name. Like the goal was to perform at a stage show. You know what I mean? That was a big thing. But I feel like now as an artist, you can just sit down in your room or go to your bridging yard, voice a thing, get a bag of streams on YouTube and you make money there, so you know what I mean?
Music antisocial. That's an interesting take. I've never really thought about that. And you're saying in comparison to two things, you're saying pre and post COVID as well as like you're comparing like soca to dance. Wait, you said the music antisocial.
I think it was happening before COVID, but COVID accelerated it. And then I think because artists weren't forced to, or they didn't have the option as much to like be out in the space, and you couldn't make music for outside because outside wasn't a thing. And then in that time you're seeing that, oh, I can make money off of YouTube, or I can bust up some streams from streaming services and things. So it's almost like...
Sorry to cut you. I want to dig a little deeper because it's like, when you say antisocial, it's like, what you mean, more gun tune?
So that's something I've actually thought about as well.
Yeah,
which is like...
Because it's like, I'm trying to understand like what you mean by antisocial.
So
like,
I actually mean it in two ways.
Yeah.
To me, antisocial in the way and this isn't new to dancehall.
It's not fostering people.
Yeah,
like,
so this isn't new to dancehall, which is that the music isn't necessarily what you'd want society to portray. It's part of society. You know what I mean? But I think there's almost like a gap of, I don't like putting music because it's an expression, art, blah, 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 into positive and negative. But when you really think about it, there are not very many positive like things coming from mainstream dancehall or mainstream Jamaican music, and that's what I mean antisocial in terms of that.
Yeah.
But also antisocial, maybe it's like a hot take or a hot take way of saying it. I will cop to that. But I think there was a point where people were making songs with the express purpose for people to go out and have fun.
I think I have a better understanding of what you said, because even from me say there's like a instinctive resonating I had with it. But I was just asking you to clarify because like say when I go to Trinidad and people supposed to tired of me and compare I don't even have to say Trinidad. If I go to a soca party here and say like party or encore play or any of them big song there, it's like people physically like they actually come together. You see me? It's like an actual physical come together.
Yeah, but then when you take a step back as well and you like soca was terrible in COVID because soca is still a very communal genre.
So when them never have that, I mean, it suffered.
To me, I feel like COVID soca was just not good. Or it wasn't, it never, I mean, it's a difficult time to make that kind of music, if you'll be honest.
For everybody.
The energy would have been all wrong. But I think even if you look at the culture of, like, soca still has that performer culture, still have, like, that culture where, like, as an artist, you have to go stage show and perform for people. And that's how you sell your music. You go up on tour, like you have to really, you know what I mean? Obviously, the man them still have work to get people to stream their music and thing, but like conversely, there will be a massive soca song and it have like 30,000 views on YouTube, bro.
Even sometime when I see these live performances of like these modern dancehall artists, there's some good and there's some bad, but I also noticed that they seem to have a little bit more difficulty connecting with the audiences, you get me? Like actually like learning how to, you know who I observed over time and like they improve their crowd connection. I would say like Skilly Bang is a good example. Like Skilly Bang is like an immense talent, but I remember like when Skilly Bang, just forward out, because of even like him lyrics, I think it was hard for people to kind of understand him. Like people en masse, it was hard for people to kind of understand him. And like, I would never say like Skilly Bang performance was bad, but like even the other day, I see him on tour and his engagement level with the crowd is like I was watching, I was like, whoa, yo, them money like the touring and do them money well because he stops, him talk to the crowd, him engage with them, bring people on stage, and I feel like even in personality on stage is so much more warm, because in Jamaica you just have this whole bad man persona. You go on stage in shades and hoodie, and this is not specific to Skillibeng anymore. It's just something I see. And then you kind of just DJ a thing, and you might ask for a forward, and then you come off stage. But there's also this thing that I think that artists understand when they're seasoned, is that it is a give and take. And like them go on stage and like, you know, like them look in the crowd and like them talk to people. And even Skillibeng, who his music is primarily, I would say, like, you know, rough dancehall mixed with a lot of girl songs, I find him understand how to kind of create a much more improved live experience. And I feel like he's like the newer dancehall artist. It's like I feel like I see where they have like a little difficulty if it's not like them have the big song and can't run up on the little catwalk and just bust the place. It's very difficult for them to kind of...
Boy, bro, I'm thinking about what you're saying. I feel like that one is bigger than me, dog, because I do think it's the shift in culture in general, which is that performing is just way less. I don't want to say less important, but there is just way lower in the things that artists, I don't want to say have to do, but have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very easy for you to don't record a song. There was a time where if you want to record a song, and it sound like a broken record for anybody that has ever listened to a man talk about what's wrong, quote unquote wrong, with the music. You know what I mean? But before you would have to go to a studio, you know, you would have probably have to interact with an elder. I mean, it's up to you if you're going to take that telling them, but you're going to interact with a man where you're going to say, yo, you know, say, you have talent, you know, but you could have this, that. Versus, oh, you're bridging by a mic on YouTube and him download one rhythm from YouTube and then you sing 2 songs. You know what I mean? So I think that, I don't want to call it mentorship, but there are even less touch points now than there was before, where you would get like that kind of advice or that kind of feedback. And sometimes people treat it as like this whole the big heads them or the older man them don't want to do it, bro. But no, I agree with you. No, but I just feel like there are just significantly less. Like it's easier to do things by yourself, which goes back to the antisocial thing. So you have your dog them and wanna just recording a song, wanna like it, bridging them in the community like it, you put it on YouTube, it might hit. You know what I mean? I don't remember the name of the artist, but there was literally a school as well do something like that. You see me where I just have a song in school, man them rate it, him record it, him release it, go up on YouTube and him go viral. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think with everything, as you said, there's give and take, but I view it in a different way. Like we gain a lot by a lowered barrier to entry, but we also lose. And as I said, we kind of lose somewhat. Yeah, you have some bad man, older man for sure, but you do lose the opportunity for things to happen. People view like culture and those things, I just think you're getting to, as things that happen through just big, massive, intentional stuff. When it does happen in like those little small interactions. Maybe you have a brother where every time you go studio, you and him end up a talk and I say you forge a relationship. You know what I mean?
And you might end up managing or whatever. I guess this is me maybe like siding with the DJs for a bit. Like people will say DJs play the same thing or we're not hearing anything. Sometimes I look on audiences and I wonder if they're even open to receiving new music, not even new music, but even just different styles of play. Like sometimes I feel like people come to the events with like a secret agenda, and I feel like I've spoken about this on the podcast already, where them say them want to hear something different, but actually in their mind, them know them want to hear
the same thing.
The Hot Cartel, the Hot Massacre, the Hot Popcorn, all of them hot song, yeah. Ray.
Because some young artists, bro, Felony 19 and Mercs.
You see me, like them just want to hear all of that, and then that is what defines a good night. You know what I mean?
I'm going to go back to your first point about Jamaicans not liking music. I don't really know the point I'm trying to make, but maybe the point is that everything is relative. There's a brother I used to follow on Twitter named Marvin Sparks. He's from England, you see me? And he was like, yo, when you go to a Jamaican party, and I think if you take a step back, you'll realize it as well, where I think in Europe is a good example, where them just like open format DJ is a thing. An open format DJ, for people that don't know, is a DJ that pretty much play everything in a set.
Yes.
Whereas
any kind of genre.
When like that's a thing.
I realize it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a newer term, but I'm hearing it more.
I wouldn't say it's new, but there was a point where it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
But in Jamaica, you're just a DJ.
Yeah, you're just a DJ.
You're going to play any and everything. You know what I mean? Which brings me to the point where Jamaicans are weird about music. And the point that the dog was making is that, yo, if you go to a Jamaican party, you are liable to hear anything, dog. I think you're kind of desensitized to it and you probably get annoyed by some of it when you really read it. But you can literally go from
Celine Dion,
Alkaline, to Celine Dion, to Olivia Dean. And yeah, some man probably not going into it because sometimes you don't want to hear that, but at the same time, I get it. And when you really take a step back, like sometimes if I'm being honest, I'm kind of like shocked how much people actually like enjoy that in certain moments. So I think it's like weird where I get what you mean about them not liking the music, but when you really take a step back and think about how diverse the music that plays at some of these parties is, it's like, it's kind of unfair to say that, you know what I mean?
Fair.
And you talk about playing things different. That's something that I don't want to say struggle with, but it's a challenge that I do generally like to take, which is that people want to hear different things, you know. But I think it's similar to when people eat real Chinese food that have been eating Jamaican Chinese food.
Yeah.
They have similar backgrounds, you know what I mean? But Jamaican Chinese food is like you understand where you are and you understand what the palate of the people.
Yes.
So I think bringing it back to the actual point, which is that people do want to hear different things. I think that they genuinely do.
Yeah.
But you can't
be presented.
You can't just fling it, get them, bro.
Obviously, no, that's not even what I'm saying. So I guess it's like there's like a dynamic to it. People will always say, yo, there is no new reggae.
Oh.
And like me, I said, Jono. Jono. They're like, Jono, do you know how many young youths have dropped an album this year and people just won't go and listen? That's like one thing. So I always seen people saying, yo, no music, no that. Like me, I said, all right, that's a lie. I remember, I see it all the time. You go on TikTok and you see those viral TikTok DJs, not the Jamaican ones, like overseas ones that doing like the boiler room style of playing. And people are like, yo, you need to come to Jamaica. And there was one guy, I cannot remember his name. He actually came.
I know who you're talking about.
I'm going to call him. I don't remember his name, but I remember because I was at that event.
Yeah.
I think it's PJ put it on.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to call the name in the dog. I'm not calling him.
Fatalic doesn't want to call any name. I want to call name because I'm doing it respectfully. And it was at CBA. And it had a good turnout. And I think it was a great concept. But that guy was playing for his life in the middle of CBA. And people were just talking. You know what I mean? And I was just there you were there?
No.
I was there. I think it was me and Travis. And I was there and I was just kind of observing. I thought it was a good initiative to say, all right, let me try and do something different. And let me try and like do the thing that people have been asking for. But me, sure, even him after that event, I said, like, yo, what? Like, I brought the guy you guys wanted me to bring. And the man I play out him life and people are just there just talking, yapping, and then them just take them time, leave out, you know what I mean? And like, it's in them moments that I say like, are we just talking or do we actually want to hear things? And I know that there are even some people who listen to this podcast who aren't from Jamaica or like them they're from Jamaica and live outside of Jamaica. So I think this is valuable because they might come to Jamaica and not kind of understand it because dancehall moves at an unreasonable speed. Like keeping up with dancehall music is very difficult. So like when foreign DJs come here and play, I worry for them. It's a hard time. One, because Jamaicans are a difficult crowd. Because as I say, we used to things being served a certain way. And we like cutting edge or rather we move through songs quickly. I remember by the time we done with Egyptian Holy, you go to Miami and that is like the biggest song right now. You know what I mean? When we done with Shake It to the Max, Shake It to the Max, I take over the world. And people are like, anyway, yo, what's the new song? So it's like
rough still. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that the Jamaican crowd is just challenging, bro.
very.
I think anytime you play in a different country or a different space is a challenge. You know what I mean? But a lot of DJs that I've spoken to, I mean, I want to say them afraid to play Jamaica, but they're always like, yo, Jamaica, bro, like, you have to just play the new dancehall. Like, play dancehall, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you see me? I don't want to say the average patron, because there's no such thing as the average patron, but I think I would agree with you that maybe, like, there is that element of claiming they want something different, but not really wanting something different. But at the same time, why I put average patron in quotes is that I've gone to events where people actually do want different stuff. What I think a lot of Jamaican
Big up
parties...
Second Sundays.
No, true. Big up Cola Champagne, big up Second Sundays, and that goes to my point, which is that,
Curation.
and I'll put it within the context of soca season, right? I feel like last soca season was one of the best soca seasons that we've had in a while in Jamaica. And a big part of that is the events were really good, like across the board. And I think why they were so good is that people were very deliberate about the events that they went to. So them know say, yo, this is a hardcore soca fete. I love soca, I'm going to that. This is an event where them are going to play some dancehall, but I'm not really depend on that, so I'm going to stay home. Or inverse, I'm not really like soca, so I'm not going to that, but I want to hear some dancehall in a soca part, so I'm going to that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which brings me back to my point, which is that I think a lot of times people do, I don't want to say them do them research, because that's a weird thing to say, but them do them research, them just say, oh, this is the hot thing, may I go. When them, like, you can't, like, to me, if you had known that that guy was playing, or if that was really the thing. If you think about, for example, like Major Lazer.
Yeah.
Even though that was at a time where Major Lazer was cool.
Yeah.
But people would have gone knowing and expecting that, and they would have received it as such.
Yeah, they know what to expect.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a stage show, really.
I think there are too many people that go to parties because it's something to do. They're not. What I think you said, them go to the party and I'm not invested in the party.
They're not giving anything to it.
Yeah, and them just, oh, it's a thing and we get a ticket. And that's a big thing as well. When you have a bag of people that go to a party called out of obligation, or because I'm gonna get a ticket, so might as well, versus like a group of people, like not necessarily pay them money, but they are invested in the party and what the party is offering.
Yeah.
That makes a massive difference.
And they want to have fun actively.
Yeah, or they want to have that kind of fun. Because another thing that I'm trying to learn, and every time people say that people boring, I'm like, yo, people have fun differently. You know what I mean? I try to say that, you know what I mean? I try to see that perspective. Like some people, but it still irks me though. But
actively I learned that, yeah, people have fun differently.
Yeah, right. Just so. Like, as a man when I dancey, like, I mean, on the side, like, from see another head, I'm happy with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like people enjoy things differently. Too many people go to parties and don't know or care what the party is about. That's something that I've spoken to people about before, and them I talk about, yo, just keep the party at this venue and them take the bar and entry free and whatever. I'm like, nah, bro, because if a man I go just come to this place where him come every week and me I do something different, him not go give me the energy. Not me personally, but the energy where him I go give off to the rest of the people there can literally drag down the energy of the event. You know what I mean? And I've seen it before. Yeah,
like when you're going to an event and like there's too much chairs.
Yeah.
You see me? And then like a bag of people start sitting down. You see me? No, that's like a really specific thing that irks me. And there's no way that comes. It doesn't come to mind. Like there's no event right now, but it used to happen. And like people come in and then everybody's sitting down. So then when I reach at 11:30 or whatever, and I see everybody sitting down, I can feel weird being the person who go stand up in the middle. So like it's a very intentional. I think, like just like as you're saying, like these things have to be so intentional down to even just how you enter the party. You know what I mean? What's the space?
No,
I love promoters that, like, as I was saying earlier, that are in the party. You get a big up my brethren Carlos, you see me? He will be in the party. I know Carlos.
Even Pedro Keezy.
Yeah, Pedro and
them
Keezy.
Man, they actively got it. Like them represent the party, bro. And it's a big thing for me as a DJ as well that I try to, like, if you see me on a flyer, like chances are that I would actually go to that party as a patron.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I
you
mean?
care about representing yourself.
I mean,
and not just yourself, but you're a fan of the event, so you want to contribute something to that event.
I mean, yeah, that's not my perspective though. It's almost like
Alright.
I have like I know how I want to approach it. So I'll be like, all right, yo, I would have got this, or I've been to the event before.
Mm-hmm.
What was I looking for as a patron? You know what I mean? So kind of like that perspective, you know what I mean? And then again, I know I use the word energy a lot, but I guess I believe in energy. Like it allows me to approach the party with the correct energy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
When you say energy, meaning the energy you get from the party, or the energy that you have to build in yourself before an event?
The energy that I go to the party with, or even leading up to the party, because weird, dog. Like if I have an event on Friday, it's part of my routine for the week. You know what I mean? Like in the back of my mind,
Building up your vibes.
Yeah. Whether that's actively preparing a set or just thinking about what it's gonna be like, or feeling a little nervous, or kind of like sometimes, if I'm being honest, like not looking forward to it. You know what I mean? So to be honest, bro. So it's like a whole thing. But I did want to go back to the TikTok something, because I think something. I think that's a big thing that bothers me a lot, bro. Which is that, and it goes back to the very first thing we spoke about, which is that like a party is a marathon, not a sprint. Like it's not a cliff. It's like a move. All right. So one thing that annoys me is when people post a video, or like understand social media in a way, you know what I mean? It will always be about getting a reaction out of people. And people comment and be like, oh, crowd not giving enough energy for me, or whatever, and I wish I was there, and blah, blah, blah. And like, yo, it's not the song that you play, it's the 4 songs you play before that song. You know what I mean? Like that can have a massive impact on how it's received, you know what I mean? So
it's not the song that you play, but it's the 4 songs you play before that song.
Yeah, so that's one thing. But also, bro, it's a video. You can see, but I feel like a video rarely, if ever, can properly convey the energy from
of the
party.
whole event.
Yeah, and if any clip that tries to do that to me always comes across as tacky. You know what I mean? Maybe because I've been to so many parties that I know that people don't behave like that in real life.
Yeah.
Or what, you know what I mean? And then also, you can't book a DJ. I mean, I don't think Jamaican promoters are necessarily guilty of this, but you can't book a DJ because of a 30-second clip, bro. You can't do that. You know what I mean? Because you go on the dog play for an hour. And a good set is not made from a one bad remix.
Yeah.
Where you think it sound cool.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's crowd feedback, especially word of mouth.
Also, you have to be able to adjust. Like, if you plan your whole set around playing this one edit and people now feel that particular vibe, then you're going to sing the whole thing, because you don't know how to actually do one of the biggest parts of being a DJ, which is managing the energy of the event.
Adapt. This is a question that I stole from Rush Gang podcast. Him asked Puffy this.
Okay.
And I think it was a great question.
You got Puffy.
How do you feel about, DJ Puffy is a great DJ. How do you feel about song requests?
It depends on the event. I would say generally, like the thing I don't like about song requests is I have to deal with it, if you get me. A pet peeve I have about DJing is related to the first question you asked. Like, people don't like, I think I have a very like focused face, so maybe people know when I'm playing, but sometimes people don't appreciate that you're working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they will come up to you and bother and say, hey, can you play this? Can you play that? And just like, bro, no. I mean, I can, but it's like I can't deal with it. I'm in the middle of something and you're bothering me, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I would say like one of the hardest things for me with a request is like actually receiving it in a way that is not rude, if I'm being honest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I generally appreciate them, if I'm being honest.
You do.
There are moments when I don't, but there are moments when I do. It's almost like customer service, bro. There are times when every DJ has this where you don't really feel like nothing working, or you feel a little stuck, and someone will say, hey, could you play this, that? And then the synapses in your brain just start going off and saying, oh, you know, say I never played that and I could have go from this to that. And it kind of gives you like direction sometimes, you know what I mean? And depend on the event as well. Like sometimes if it's like a more intimate thing, I probably would like a request if it would allow me to connect more with that set of people.
Yeah.
think as with most things in life, like there are a lot of nuances to when it is and is not appropriate.
I find when it is just done graciously, isn't me? I find like the people them who insist on a song playing.
Oh yeah, facts. You have some people who forward and just stand up until they play the song. I'm just like, bro.
And I'm like, yo, just read the room, you know what I mean? Like we're playing for everybody, not just you. You may have a song you want to hear and it may not serve the whole event, as well as you just say it like it's not the song that you play, but the 4 songs leading up to it. How am I going to incorporate your song into the thing? So I guess what's good is that you and Puffy kind of a similar answer. He said like yes, because it's like I want to serve the people and I love a challenge, but it's like if I play the song, you better
match the energy.
Yeah, better match the energy, which I found was very reasonable, and I was kind of surprised, but it just shows why I am not a DJ.
No, I mean, I think the big thing on social media, bro, you see these clips where people are super rude and you know what I mean, like I hate social media for this reason. It gives you the most extreme version of anything. You know what I mean? So when you say, oh, request it, imagine like somebody in your face, I say, play XY, play Bad Bunny, and you try DJ and them just about it and just like, bro, no. But at the same time, as I said, there are instances where, and it's something I have to deal with when I play at certain venues where it's like, people are liable to be there for their birthdays, for example, and someone will be like, yo, play a birthday song for me. Every time I'm just like, bro, no. Like in my head, but at the same time, I think, as you said, I play for the people, and it's a moment for them, you know what I mean? As someone that's jaded by the activity of being at a club and playing Happy Birthday, I'm a friend or whatever birthday song in the moment, but when you play that and you see them and them friend them and them have a good time, and that's something that adds to their night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
you're interested in giving people that feeling.
Yeah, and as you said, Puffy said, like, you have to think outside of yourself sometimes, you know what I mean? But you also have to trust what you're doing. You can't dash away what you've been building towards as a set just to make one person happy, but also you need to have the flexibility as a professional to know when, I don't want to call it a chance, but when a chance is worth being taken, you know what I mean? So,
all right. So I have one activity to close out the podcast. I think it's
all right.
It's not easy. It wouldn't be easy for me, but let's see how good of a DJ you are.
Okay.
All right. So you're an open format DJ, right? It's 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? The place ram. I'm not asking you one song.
Jamaican party never yet ram at 12 o'clock.
All right. Ram at 1 o'clock. See, that's why he's the DJ, not me. He's observant. It's 1 o'clock, right? In no particular order. 5 songs that go to be in your set.
I mean, off the top of my head, it depends. Keep saying it depends because it always depends. If it like some of the old faithfuls, if I'm on the spot, like I swear to Jah, street vibes.
Yeah, man.
So like that would be like more like an oldies vibe. I feel like oldies don't exist anymore. But that's another topic. Probably what you feel like. Skipper.
Yeah. Okay.
I would have just that rhythm.
Okay, I mean? We can just have the juggling as one song.
Big up DJ Mac, you know what I mean? But the Skipper, the Chronicler, the Vado, maybe the Anthony B, you know what I mean? Probably Hill and Gully, no.
Alright, Hill and Gully rhythm.
The girl, you know what I mean?
Classify that as one.
Maybe I don't have pit up at if I doing girl song, you know what I mean?
Alright, see that 5 songs.
Yeah.
Where you feel like rhythm, Hill and Gully rhythm, I don't have pit up at
Swear to Jah. Street vibes.
Those are 5 songs that
oldies don't exist anymore. That's my hot take.
Oldies?
Yeah.
As No. I feel like we can't, because we don't know when next the people going to see it. So what that mean, oldies don't exist?
We're in a very weird place musically right now. I feel like everybody can agree. And the thing I said about how music has changed, it don't just apply to dancehall or Jamaican music. I feel like the reason that soca is so popular is that it's one of the few genres that still are very invested in making people have a good time at its core. So it's still like a very good party music. You know what I mean? I feel like hip-hop doesn't have to do that anymore. Streaming is the thing, tours are the thing, dance all similar. Like a lot of genres aren't kind of, I want to say for lack of a better word, beholden to that. You know what I mean? So I think when you think about it now, bro, when you talk about hot segment, you're still getting songs that are like 15, 20 years old. When you really think about it. Like, I feel like people don't actively think about it in a party. But like...
But you mean just the gamut of what can be played at present day is so wide?
I guess that's a way of looking at it.
Okay. I guess when I think about oldies now, I think about anything like older than 90s. But I guess the way you present it is also different, like just the gamut of songs that can be played.
I mean, it's weird to think about because I wasn't thinking about it as much when I was younger. But it's like, maybe this was happening before, but now it just feels like super apparent because even now...
And you're talking about the duration of an event, just the year span that you can...
No, I'm talking about the hot part of an event.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
15 years from now is what? Is 20...
From 2012? 2011?
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. Swag Surf can't die.
Perfect example, bro. You know what I mean?
You have a good point. Yeah. Okay. No, that definitely gives me something to think about. All right. Well, I think that was a very interesting conversation. I feel like we can wrap it out here. You don't know. Fatalic, thanks for being my first guest. I want to kick off the guest segment of the podcast without you. And if the people will have on my podcast, you'll see Fatalic again on this podcast. If everyone will just feel like reason out something with our brethren, because it's that man when we use to reason things out with. You don't know, before we close out, I just want to remind you guys that if you're listening on YouTube, you don't know, hit subscribe. It helps a lot. Hit the like button, it helps a lot. These are things that helps the podcast to grow, and growing helps us to keep this podcast going. I don't know, it's all out of pocket.
And if you're listening to a hot take clip, come off of the hot take clip and go watch a longer video.
You see me?
And subscribe.
And just subscribe, or just make it playing at the background or whatever. If you're listening after, just rate it. All of those things, you don't know. If you like the podcast and you rate me, just click those things, you see me? And no, for real, big up all the people who see me in real life and come up to me and say, yo, bro, really enjoying the podcast. Those things make my day, make my week, and I appreciate it. And we're going to do our best to keep this thing going. So, you don't know, keep safe and continue to bless up yourself.